If you can hear my voice, clap 3 times. That seems like such a civilized way to do that. Instead of, hey, shut up. All right. So, what'd you find out?
Plane stall.
What's that? That was, are you together?
We just found out.
That was my fault because they go into really dark rabbit holes, and now I found out new ways to die on a plane. So I just told them, and I really shouldn't have because I feel really bad.
I missed the first part. What did you say about that?
Oh, well, they stall, or I go down dark rabbit holes of plane crashes.
Oh, cool,
So, yeah.
cool, yeah.
I found out now that they the sensory thing stalls, and then the pilots don't know.
So they got that off their list, right off. Yeah.
Now we have a brand
More excuses. How many of you are here for somebody else? Okay, lots of luck. All right, yeah, all right. And what do you got?
Oh, I'm working in case you get to the overwater thing.
Okay.
We did find out early on. I found out early on. I love seeing all you guys. We realize that you have way bigger brains than we do. You just can't figure out how to shut them off. If you'd had the empty white bubble over your head like us, you would feel much better. And Ron can help you with that, like young lady over here, thinking up new ways to perish in the airplane. I mean, some people play golf, and other people mountain bike, and you guys sit at home and think of this stuff. And
That's why we love coming, because we can't stand not hearing all these good
and we
stories.
haven't thought of a lot, but we're going to put it down.
Yeah, we're going to put them up here tonight. All right. All right. So first thing is raise your hand, your right hand preferably. I know you look at me like I'm an idiot, but okay. Way up. Come on. This is a participation sport. All right. Slowly bend it at the elbow. Bring it down behind your head and go, way to go. All right. And that goes for both the person who's afraid to fly and the person who came with them. How many of you are here to support somebody who's afraid to fly? Good for you. You get an extra pat in the back. All right. Because it's really, really helpful. And if you end up flying with us, it's really helpful to go with that person on the flight stuff. And we do, in the classes that we conduct, we help people with somebody, because oftentimes that's as stressful for them as it is for you, because they don't know what to do. And if they like you at all, it's really miserable. Right? Because they're trying to, and then we see a few squabbles now and then, don't bother me right now, because if you talk to me, the airplane will crash. So anyway, right? Who had what were some of the reasons that brought you here tonight?
I thought this was a meeting from Mile High Club.
Oh! That's... yeah. That makes it all better for coming now, doesn't it? Yeah, right. That's actually a special sign-up list here, and Eric is in charge of that. So anyway, all right. Who else?
I'm flying next Saturday.
Okay. When people call me, it's usually 48 hours before they got a flight. Yeah. You're way ahead of the power curve. Yeah.
I had to get off my last flight.
Okay. How many of you have had to get off of an airplane? That's particularly problematic. Hey, yeah, that's problematic because it's kind of like avoiding in a way, and it sets up a little bit of a trauma in your brain there. It's kind of traumatizing for you. Who else? Vacation. Want to take a vacation? Yeah. It's tired of driving.
Tired of driving and hold back my family from going out.
Yeah. We get a lot of people this time of the year.
No, same thing. Preparing myself for a long flight.
Yeah.
Having to fly alone. It's been a long time.
Okay. Cool. Work, yeah. Yep. This lady has a really cool job, and she's going to have to fly to London at least once a month. Yeah, and so she was really in that moment when she was going to not go to the airport yesterday. She was just going to chuck it all, and I said, "Man, you're better than that. You got this." And she did. And of course, today she's just ecstatic that she stayed on the airplane. It wasn't fun. It's not going to be a complete instant relief from your anxiety, but you're going to have the confidence that you're going to have tools and strategies that you can use to cap the anxiety so it doesn't get any worse when it starts to go up. And then and we'll teach you how to maintain a lower level of baseline anxiety so that now when you get on the airplane and you have an inevitable spike due to turbulence or takeoff or something like that, you got some wiggle room. If you're sitting along on a scale of 1 to 10 and you're already at a 9, it doesn't take much to push you up over the 10, and now you got a panic attack and you may want to leave the airplane. So it's really painful there. Anybody else want to volunteer out of the ordinary one, or Well, I set that up. Nobody's going to do that. So, all right. All right. So, how long does it hurt? And these are some of the reasons that we've had. I've had several people really feel bad they missed their parents' funeral. And job offers, family reunions. We've had people that have, I know it's 4 days on the bus from here to Portland, Maine, because we had a fearful flyer that did that. And she said they'd stop every 8 hours and the driver got off, but they didn't get to get off. They stayed in that bus the whole time over that. So not much fun at all. And something that people don't think about unless you are not able to fly for work is what's the cost of not flying. And most, families just, you spend, if you got a week for vacation and you spend 3 days going to Disney World and 3 days coming back, that's a short trip for the kids at Disney World, So, yeah, so it's a bummer. And what does it take to get over this? You got to have confidence that flying is safe. The airlines always, they get caught up in we don't charge for bags and we do, and we have the cheapest fares and all that. But the airlines are really selling trust and safety. That, and you see that when you have the MAX 8 thing. I mean, that's it. People's confidence goes, and now everybody retracts. Yeah. So safety and trust is what it's about. So you've got to feel confident that flying is safe. And I know most of you do, and there's a logical part of your mind, but we'll touch on why the logical part of your mind doesn't prevail when you have a fear of flying. And you got to have confidence. This is even bigger. I've found over the 31 years I've been doing this. You've got to have confidence that you will maintain control. How many of you are worried that you'll get on there and you'll embarrass yourself? Yeah. And that's terrible. There's a lot of shame associated with it. Like, how come I'm like this and everybody else seems to be doing well? In fact, if you have flown and you feel that way, and you look out there in the other people on the airplane, a lot of you misperceive or look at the other people and think, oh man, everybody's doing. No, they're not. They're as successful as you are at hiding it. Okay. Because most of you don't really show any outward signs. You feel miserable on the inside, but on the outside, it doesn't show up. So there's a lot of shame and guilt about feeling the way you do. How many of you had some relief just seeing how many people were in here tonight? Okay, that's usually a big one. Years ago, I had a lady was sharing her story, and right in the middle of it, she left an airplane. They had pushback. They had to let her down the air stairs on the ramp. I mean, and that's a chaotic experience. And she's in the middle of telling that story, and another lady across the room said, "Oh my God!" She stood up and said, "I'm glad. I thought I was the worst one in here." So that was redeeming for her. Okay. Just a little bit of demographics. Average age in here tonight of the fearful flyers is 40, and the median age is 43. That's pretty much prime time for people who are afraid to fly. I was surprised. I thought it would be a little bit older than that, and that's held true for 31 of the years that I've been doing this. Just pretty constant. And I don't believe that this means that they waited till 39 and a half and then all of a sudden they found their fear. However, some people do fly successfully and then they notice all of a sudden or over time that they can't do it anymore. How many of you are like that? Flown was not an issue and then all of a sudden it is. Yeah, interesting. Yeah, fascinating. Some of the reasons some surmises that I've had are particularly women who have children. Oftentimes they can identify when they gave birth to their kids. Sometimes the husband in the couple can identify that same thing, kind of like the increased responsibility to be there as a parent. And certainly for women, I mean, oh God, thank God I don't have to give birth because there wouldn't be anybody left on the planet by the time I had that. But I think the hormone changes and things like that, because chemistry is a big part of anxiety. Okay. Let's see.
How many of you was it one particular thing on one particular flight, or you just got there where you couldn't do it anymore?
Two things, yeah. My seat got, I think they had equipment change, so the
Sure.
seat went away. When it was an aisle, and I got stuck on a bulkhead with no window, and
Sure.
that's when it started.
Sure. And that brings up the core issue to changing the way you think is identifying the trigger and the story you tell yourself. And we're going to talk about that in much greater detail tonight. Oh, I didn't do that one. So our goal today is to provide you with information to get started and make some decisions after that, okay? One of the things that you're going to get an email about 7 o'clock here, automatically delivered to that. And one of the things I'm going to offer and suggest to you is you take advantage of it. If you have no other plan, call me up, or you can set up a 15-minute coaching session for free, okay? That's the best way. It's free, it's easy, and I love doing it. And it's the best way to get started for a lot of people, okay? And actually, you're rare because you live in the area here. Most of the people I work with, as you can imagine, are in Australia or, some other part of the country.
I drove from LA and I got here at 5.
Oh, cool, yeah. And we have quite a few people coming from LA, and I hold the 201 classes over there in the Burbank area. We just did one a couple weeks ago, so now we do have a little bit of traffic between here and LA. And I'd like to do it in Atlanta and New York eventually, but right now we're busy enough just doing it down here. 3 steps, okay? You got to educate yourself. You got to learn more about airplanes and flying. Okay, you don't have to be a pilot, but you need to know enough to answer some of the questions so that at least that's not draining some of the confidence and causing you to rely on a part of the brain, which I'm going to talk about in much greater detail here. Disruption and distraction. You need to learn how to regain control of your attention. Fear of flying is really an attention disorder when you think about it. It's the problem that you can't put your attention where you want it because your fight or flight, your survival instinct has grabbed onto it like a junkyard dog and hijacked it, and it will not let go. And once you get into that part of anxiety, now it's a biological process, and it's really difficult to get back your way out of that, okay? And then the last thing is social collaboration. It really helps to connect with other people. We have a Facebook group that we started a while back called Fearless Flight Birds of a Feather. I highly recommend that you, if you're on Facebook, that you join it because we see a lot of support. We answer questions. We got to get Eric over there. We got to bring him up to speed, but we need to, that's your assignment, Deb, is to get him on Facebook. Yeah. Anyway, but we monitor that and help people with questions that they have, and it's really fun. Okay, 1 and 6. If you get on a mainline airplane like an A320, 321, or a Boeing 737 of whatever designation, 700, 800, whatever, you look across the aisle, there's 6 seats. One of them in that row is afraid to fly, statistically. And I think really it's pushing more like 2. And when you get something like the MAX issues in the news and all that, probably everybody in the row is wondering whether they should stay on the airplane, okay? But it's really prevalent. And it's been like that ever since I got involved, serendipitously. Okay, here's a video coming up. Everybody's favorite psychology, Bob Newhart. This was a thing I found on the web, and I love Bob, and it's cute. So we'll kill the lights here, and if still got the sound, hopefully.